Thank you for tuning in to The Truth with Trinity. And I am your host, Trinity. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I'd like to send you a warm welcome. Here I talk about issues that happen within the Black community, hopefully for some resolution or at least some food for thought to go about your daily way. So without further ado, I'd like to jump into this episode's topic, which is why the Black man must stop destroying the Black woman if he wants his Black son to survive. I wanted to first start off once again with thanking all my listeners and even the people that comment and even the not so friendly comments. And I think even with the not so friendly comments, that's a beginning. We need a beginning to start somewhere. And like, for example, if there's some brothers out there that have some problems, with some issues that they have been dealing with Black women, I encourage them to maybe do a constructive criticism by actually explaining or stating things that they would like to see better in the Black woman. So instead of just saying that bleep is just crazy or whatever, talk about what you'd like to see change about the Black woman. And I think, as Black men and women, we can begin to get somewhere. Also, I like to say that I understand at one time, and, the Black man, he was the first teacher of the tribe, the communities, his surroundings, and the women, and of course women teach children, but, the Black man was the Black woman's first teacher, okay, and the Black man has a need to educate the Black woman. And we're starting to see that now, across YouTube land and social media. We're starting to see the Black man really speak out, But as he does, I encourage him, as hard as it may be, to remove as much of his emotions as he can so that he is not tearing down the Black woman while he attempts to teach her, okay? Because the Black woman always has and always will flock to a man with knowledge, okay? Women, we love men with knowledge, okay? A man can sit somewhere and have 1,000 women looking at him, listening, bedazzled off of his knowledge. So I'm encouraging the Black man to have a better way of talking to the Black woman while he's trying to teach her about what to do and what not to do, especially, in relationships and just being a woman, period. But the Black man must be careful in how he delivers. And I also encourage Black women too, how we're talking to Black men. I know we've got a lot of pain, and the Black man has a lot of pain as well. And like I said, we'll begin to get somewhere as people once we start to constructively dialogue. Okay, instead of just tearing each other down, have meaningful dialogue. So dialogue, talking to each other, that includes a purpose for why we're talking versus just, dragging each other down. Okay. I like to first start off by saying that one of the quickest ways to destroy a nation is to separate the man from the woman, which I know a lot of you already know that. Okay. The Black race is like the rectangular clubhouse cracker. Those crackers that are rectangular and you have to break them apart. They're bigger than the average cracker, right? I want you to follow me here, okay? So this is the Black race is like the clubhouse cracker that has been broken into, at first, the fourths, then eighths, then into little bitty pieces that could be just blown off a table, okay? And I'm referring this to the method that has been used to break Black people down, okay, throughout the centuries. But let's look at how. And I want to say, please bear with me. I tried to make this episode as short as possible, but it's pretty hard to, especially on the topics and the severity of the issues that we're talking about, okay? But look at how we're broken into pieces, okay, to be blown off the table. First, let's talk about the slavery era, where the foundation work was really laid into creating a new identity for Blacks as slaves, okay? So a lot of the groundwork that we're seeing now in 2021 was really laid back then, as we all already know. Then after slavery, when the free man, the quote-unquote free man emerged, after slavery, after the emancipation, a certain new method was in place to continue to oppress the Black man and woman, okay? Then welfare was created, which they used to push the black family further apart. We all know about that. You couldn't have welfare back then in the 60s and 70s. Unless the man was out the house. Okay, so we know about the method that was used then. Then next was the crack era. In the 80s, used to give the black man another identity. And destroy the minds of both black men and women. Okay, so not only a lot of the parents back then were on crack, but then we had the dope dealer. Okay, so pushing it to your own people. So this is another method of America to say, oh, well, you sold dope to your own people. Even though America put the dope in the communities, this is another way of them having their hands off while we're destroying each other. Okay, also, and currently you have the black man and woman gender war. Okay, so there's a gender war in the country, period, regardless of race. But you ever notice how something like a gender war and sexism, how it really affects black people? It almost makes you think that, yeah, there's some other races of people that's involved that have problems with their women or men, but it seems like it just is like designed to really destroy the black race, right? Which could be the last straw or final method of annihilating black people, okay? So with all those methods, from slavery, from the welfare, from, the crack, era, and now we've got the gender war, is this the final method, though, that's going to destroy us as black people? See, the methods in which to destroy blacks not only evolved, but it is switched so that black people will not catch on, and so that black people are not aware of the methods being used, okay? So how, like I said, throughout the decades, how it was this, then it was that, okay? So we won't catch on, okay? These methods were also put in place so that after slavery, Europeans were worried that they could no longer make money off of blacks as they once did, like back in the plantation days, with black people being in the back of their yards, picking cotton for them while they were lazy and sitting there drinking lemonade off of blacks. So they put a system in place that they could still benefit off of blacks from a tertiary and a secondary perspective, okay? So there's a system in place where they're not whipping black people, like that's directly, but tertiary is like indirectly, making money and benefiting off of black people. And I say lazy, because, the American country has this big thing of calling blacks lazy, and I think, like I said, it's a projection of how so many hundreds of years, how dare the Europeans in America call black people lazy when they spent 500 to 600 years sitting on their porch with a straw in their mouth, watching black people build and pick cotton and feed them and breastfeed their children. So let me continue, though. Basically, the terror, okay, trauma and illness developed during slavery was meant to last throughout all history, but now their physical hand is removed while the black mind is still spinning out of orbit, okay? So like I said, directly there was the whip in slavery, and now there's methods in place so that their hands are not directly on black people anymore, but the methods in place have black people in autopilot of attacking each other. Okay, so they can say, hey, my hands aren't in there. I'm not doing it. You're killing yourself. Type of theory, okay? Let me explain further. Now, the stage is set for black men and women to attack each other so that others can say they had nothing to do with it. Look, see, they kill each other. They kill themselves, right? Which was the master plan all along. In ways such as reducing black women to sexual concubines, okay? Blocking black men from employment, the black woman unclothed, which distracts black men, okay, and black men chase naked black women, has kids by black women becoming, and black women becoming like an incubator just to pump out kids. No marriage, none of this. And that's part of what I was talking about in my episode about the white supremacy, about the fallacy of white supremacy, about this idea, everywhere you look, there's a white couple and there's, a white man and a white woman, but you rarely ever see a black man and a black woman. I think maybe, I don't know if it's a threat, for this image, for us to see this. Okay, but this is part of the black woman and man not having that. It's not because we're black that we can't have it, but this is supposed to be the image of something that we can't have because we're quote unquote inferior, which we're not. Okay, and about our women just incubating babies, okay, without marriages and without men there to protect and love them. This is like an image to the black woman that this is something only the white woman can have, or other races of women, that the black woman can't have a man. You can have kids like a plantation slave, but you can't have a family. Okay, and the black man can't be financially free without child support on his back, threatening him to go to jail. Okay, and then we have multiple homes, uncommitted black men, and angry black women who report the black man. And in turn, hatred is displayed back to the black woman, which in retrospect lands directly on the children. Okay, so of course, black women feeling betrayed, you know, and then, she's reporting the black man, to child support. He's hating her. So the black man is looking at the black woman like an enemy. He's being reported to jail, for lack of payment. He's spreading his money that he's struggling to have with multiple women. He's uncontrolled sexually. And then the black woman's upset because she's hated by the black man, and this is landing on the children and the black sons. Okay? Like I said, which creates more generations of broken kids who will think toxicity is normal and become products of child support. So our children are growing up to become abortion patients, our young ladies. Okay, incarceration for our lost and angry black men, young black men. Okay, death row, divorce, okay, drug addicted, which all is used to profit this country. Okay, because they couldn't profit off of, plantation work anymore. So there was a system, it was a system put in place. So, hey, I got the courthouse ready to slide you into the courthouse. And once you're done having sex and you're regretting because of your lack of control and marriage commitment, you'll be sliding in to the abortion clinics. You're going to make us rich off of that. The black man's going to keep watching those booty shakers on TV, and he's going to be aroused to get 50 black women pregnant. And he's going to be in court, and he's going to make us rich. And their children are going to grow up, and there's going to be a daycare division. Okay, primarily black children. They're going to be messed up, and just so many methods that we can think about. How this is benefiting them off of our dysfunction, though. Okay, many black men come from an era where their fathers left. Okay, and I think a lot of black men can agree to that. Not all black men. Okay. Which, let me make a small disclaimer right here. This does not apply to every black man or every black woman, okay? There are some black families, and there are some people trying to break the cycle or never was a part of it. So now that I've made that disclaimer, I'm going to go back to what I was saying. Many black men come from an era where their fathers left, okay? While small, while they were little children, they saw the damage it caused their mother, okay? So it became the normal in the eyes of many black men. Okay? Yet black men keep asking the question, why are my sons coming out damaged, feminine, angry, or etc., growing up around his mom, right? Now, the situation I'm about to describe works best if two people start off childless and married, okay? Because that's the thing that we need to really focus on, okay? A lot of us have already did our things. We're in our 30s, we're in our 40s, some of us. And even if there are some young people listening, listen to what I'm saying, okay? This method that I'm about to describe is going to work best if there are two people that don't have children, okay? Educated, have their self together and ready to produce marriage and a family, okay? But let's just say that you've already, did things. Our children are not mistakes, but we've already made decisions that have landed us in situations where we can't put this method in place. What we need to do as black people is we need to stop being selfish and say, hey, oh, well, let the chips fall where they may. No, if we made mistakes, we need to teach our kids. We need to raise our daughters. Like, hey, you see, I got 2 or 3 kids by 2 men. I don't want you to be this way, and this is how you're not going to be this way. If you're a man that never had a father in his house, before you walk away from that household, you need to think about how it's going to affect your son, because you remember how it affected you. Okay? So if we made certain mistakes, as black adults, we need to be able to raise the next generation so that they're not making the mistakes. Okay, so let me talk about this method that works best if both black man and woman don't have children. Okay, so both man and woman must court. Okay, so this is best if black men and women, they start to marry people who are friends, who you're friends with, who not just online dating or something quick. Someone that you can see having their back. The black man having the black woman's back, the black woman having the black man's back. Someone that maybe you've grown up with, someone that you trust and know, and someone that you respect more than just sexually, okay? And to get time to develop to know somebody, okay? Black men must learn how to control himself and reprogram his mind to see black women past more than just sex. Okay, because you have this thing where a lot of black men will say, "Oh, I don't want no woman for sex," but yet his genitalia is out. Yet he's insinuating everything about sex. All his conversation is about the physicality of a woman. I understand it's in a man's nature to heavily be infatuated with a woman's looks. It's part of a man. A man is visual. I understand that. But as far as the black man understanding that he was programmed at first just to have sex and to breed like an animal and to get a whole plantation of women pregnant, and how this has traveled through generations, while other races of men were taught to build empires and legacies, and that they must be it's a pride for him. So the black man must regain his pride that no, it is your duty. Okay, I know that sounds weird. It sounds crazy. It's your duty to stay in the house with the woman that you had your children with to watch them grow up at least until they're 18. Okay, because that's what's going to help break the generational curses off of black people. And black women have to do their part as well. Okay, but black men need to understand that. You can't just chase after the next skirt after you've made a permanent cement condition. Because what I find is a lot of black men, because you talk about the angry black woman, a lot of black men are making cement promises, permanent promises, and then breaking them and wondering why they have an influx of angry black women. Also, he must learn to pick a woman based off of how she can produce for him mentally and spiritually well and healthy children. Okay, because the black man, I think, was really taught to just have sex and just have kids wherever. I'm not saying every black man was, okay, but that it really didn't matter, because he wasn't going to be there anyway long enough to watch them grow and the effects of his decisions. Okay, like the black man wasn't taught like, hey, if I have a blacksmithing company, if I have a business, I need to be able to pass this on to my heirs. Okay, because this is how other men think. I need to be able to pass this on to my heirs. I need to be able to pass this on to the next generation. I need to be there to guide my son on how to manage this business. I need to be there to make sure it happens. Okay, and the black woman, she definitely, can be taught a few things, which I will be producing episodes on how the black woman can have more self-respect for herself, as well. Also, although the black man acts for submission, okay, so you have a lot of black men saying, black women are not, being submissive. He must give the black woman his word, okay, be obligated to stick by her and his children for life. And like I said, at least until, they can take care of themselves, okay, because I'm going to make an episode about that too, because sometimes I question the black man. Does the black man want a submissive woman because he sees other races of men more likely to have it out of their women? So he just wants it because he sees other women doing it to their man, so he wants it? Does he want it just so he can have this image, metaphorically speaking, of a woman on her knees? Does he know how to utilize submissive women like a woman? Does he know how to, benefit in a way that it's going to benefit the black woman and not just him, not just sexually? Does he understand the duty and obligation of what it takes to have a woman under your leadership versus just saying, "Ooh, I got a submissive woman"? Is that all the black man wants? Is the black man being trained on what to do when he has that type of woman versus him just saying he wants it? Okay, the black man cannot look for a woman to put up with his needs, yet he has no desire to reciprocate. And we've got that going on a lot now. The black man is complaining that the black woman is selfish. She's hard and she's brute and she's mean. Because of the decades, of the black man being this way to her. Now the black man is like, oh my God, where is this monster coming from? And you might only be 30 or 40, or 20 years of age, but this is coming from even back, generations back, of even grandfathers and fathers doing this and displaying this type of mannerisms to black women. And now they're coming up, their mothers have taught them, hey, 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 don't trust the black man, you're going to get hurt or whatever, etc. And it's time for the black man to put on a new face for the black woman, and then the black woman to I think it would really help her to feel comfortable to do her part. Okay, the black man cannot sleep with other women to the level he neglects his children. Okay, and as men and women, we're never going to agree on this, and I understand that, But listen to what I'm saying. I said the black man cannot sleep with other women to the level where he neglects his children, such as food, rent, clothes, and care. Because women naturally feel the love of the man through how he promotes his children and secures for her, and how he secures for her as a wife. And that's why I said this pretty much works when there's two people that don't have any kids. Because I understand a man really, is kind of like head scratching when, a woman already has kids. And that's why I've already explained to the woman, and the harsh reality of single parenthood, why you're at your best as a maiden with no children. You have the best top pick, when you have no children and you've educated yourself and you've molded and groomed yourself. And also I understand, that's why I said for the black man, it's best for the woman not to have these children, so you don't feel like you're taking care of kids that are not yours. Okay, you don't feel like you're being used and that she's emotionally unavailable only for money from you. And that's why it's best for black men and black women to stick together and not play musical families, like musical chairs. So no one has to worry about if they're being played and used. Okay, because at least you're taking care of your own kids if you're sacrificing your money as a black man. Okay, if you're sticking with the woman that you had your children with initially. Okay, the problem is the black man can lack undivided attention. When he does this, it helps to break down the family structure. Then both black men and women become enemies, because that's the number one way to become an enemy of any woman, regardless of race. You start not answering your phone for a week, 2 months, and you just say, I don't care about the lights, I don't care about the bills. You want a woman to be submissive, but you don't forgot about your duties as a man. You're saying the black woman has all these duties to comfort her man, to comfort the house, the home, the children, to let him have the last word and the decision-making skills of the house. But the black man also has his duties, which I think a lot of black men have said, oh, yeah, right. You want to be an independent woman, but I think that's an excuse and a cover-up for a lot of black men have made that the black woman, can't be compared to the other races of women, that a lot of black women have been missing, not just for 10 or 30, but they've been missing that male authority because of men wanting to keep saying, and it's been fed to the black man, this image by Europeans, that black women don't need, that your woman doesn't need this. So you should treat your woman to give your woman a penny, while I give my woman the world, though. And your woman only deserves a penny. So then the black man, I believe, has bought this. And of course, naturally, any woman, but we're talking about black women, are going to be angry, okay? It is time for black men to stop walking away from their family as if it is the norm, okay? Because not every black woman is just having babies to be single, okay? Not every black woman is doing that, and I think the black man knows that. The black man must break generational curses by doing perhaps what he has never seen his father do. And I understand, even for black men and black women, it can be hard to do something that you've never seen your parents do. And that's where it takes true strength and true grit. Like, for example, as a woman, if your mother was a little loose and, she didn't go get her education, or she, just, couldn't stop sleeping with other men, it's going to be hard for you to change that cycle. To be a good mother, if you're a mother, to say, hey, I'm gonna be married. I'm gonna be the first woman that gets married in my family, or I'm gonna break these generational curses. Or as a black man, if you've seen that, your father or uncles, it was easy, or they coaxed and said it was okay that you should walk away from a woman, and this is how you treat a woman. If you know these ways are damaging to your race of women, Stop doing it. And it's going to take strength for the black man to do something maybe he's never seen before. Okay? And for his children's life, the black man cannot look for a woman to put up with his needs, yet he has no desire to reciprocate. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me keep going. I already kind of went over that. Okay, let me continue. The black man must stop assuming that black women just don't want male authority, okay? Because that's a big thing. A lot of black men are just saying that black women don't want authority, okay? When in reality, many black women have either never had male authority in their life, or the male authority they did have wasn't positive, okay? If the black man ever wants to lead the earth again, okay, if the black man ever wants to lead the earth again, he must stop saying that he could care less and that he isn't responsible for black women and kids, And I think this is something too, you always hear men in general, and, we're talking about black men now, they say that black women came from their rib, and things of this nature, that basically we come from the black man, okay? But the black man likes to lead out the part when Eve bit that apple, that who did God call for it? He called the man for it. Even though Eve bit the apple, he called the man for it. Okay? And like I said, if the black man ever wants a shot again of leading this earth, he can start first with leading his women and children. And getting together with other men to find a way to positively, constructively gain control over what is out of control now. And I'm not saying that black women are mindless and that they are helpless. I'm not saying that. But for black men to claim that they're head and that they're the men, and it's more than it takes more than you just saying it and just cursing at a woman or telling her that she's inadequate. You have to put forth the knowledge and effort to change this thing about, with the cooperation, of course, of the black woman. For how can the black man call himself head when he refuses to lead? That's some deep stuff right there. You're calling yourself head, but you refuse to lead, and part of that is taking responsibility for your actions. And I know the black man will say, "Oh, black women aren't taking responsibility." I think black women have been taking responsibility to a certain extent, especially when it comes to the children. She's been the only one there. Whether she wanted to assume responsibility or not, she's been the only one there, And how can a black woman be submissive to a man who will not fight for her? Fight for her emotionally, spiritually, financially, and if need be, with his life, because you're asking for her life, because we're both grown adults here. And, the black woman's an adult, and you're asking for her to be submissive to you, to spend her life to raise your children, though, But what is the black man giving in response? The black man will remain out of sync with God, the God over Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God over Israel, until he assumes his natural role. And one of those roles is his family, children, women, okay? The black man must stop leaving his sons with women, then blaming her for all his ill conditions, okay? Because we've got that a lot. We've got a lot of black men, all due respect. Not all black men. Some women, they did leave the black man. And we're going to talk about that too, okay, in this episode, okay? But there's a lot of black men, though, on the other hand, they're leaving the black woman with the responsibility, being gone for months and years at a time, then saying it's just her keeping the children away, when if the black man was honest with himself, it's not every black woman that's just quote unquote leaving and not letting you see your child. Okay? Then, like I said, blaming the child for all his ill conditions as he grows up, okay? Number one, okay? It depends on the condition on how the black woman was left, okay? So I'm going over now, like why not to leave your son with the woman, okay? Because let's just say, for example, things don't end up well in a marriage or something like that. And these are also things that you should keep in mind of if you're co-parenting, and for reasons that if you want to pick another woman, the grass isn't greener on the other side, and it encourages the black man and the black woman to consider what they're leaving or giving up when it comes to their children. I'm not talking about abusive situations if you're getting abused, black man or black woman, But these are situations if you just think someone else is better, because we got this generation where it's always better than the next. What you're really giving up when you give up, your family, okay? But I'm talking to black men right now. Depends on the condition on how you left the black woman, okay? Cursing and mentally abusing the black woman leads to mentally abused children, okay? You have some women that have a strong faith in God, and even then, things can be pretty challenging, when we're talking about, cursing and calling her this, that, mentally abusing her with other women, having other women call her phone, Facebook, especially if you guys were married or, in a serious relationship and it. And you're doing things like that. So this is a part of mental abuse, oh, you was nothing but sexual object or whatever the case, you're stuck in the house, whatever. These things are going to trickle down to the children, whether this is right or wrong, okay? And like I said, is it right or fair? No, it's not. It's not fair. It's not right. No, it's not. I'm not justifying it or anything. But I want you to hear the truth, though. Okay? So that, a lot of black men can stop saying, oh, why is my children messed up? Okay? But what I am describing is, after all, psychological and scientific and mathematic. Okay? After all, at one time, the black man was the godfather of mathematics and science. So this should come to you pretty easily to understand 1 plus 1 is 2. You start abusing the woman that you had your children by, okay, and how this trickles down to the child, okay? And leaving a woman to be hungry or the children can cause mental illness on the black woman, okay, which takes the form of outburst, promiscuity. That's a lot of the reasons too. We see a lot of, I think, black women online. They break up with their boyfriend or child's father. They feel a need to want to be accepted again. And so they're out there just trying to get attention any way they can, taking off their clothes and stuff in these pictures and stuff. They begin to belittle the child, physically damage, emotionally abuse the child. Okay, so these are all the things that fit into the mental illnesses that we're hearing about, childhood homicide. Okay, being so mentally broken down and weakened that you let a man that you're with abuse the child because you're so mentally broken down as a black woman. Okay, because you're like, well, the father doesn't care. Why should I care so much? I'm tired of caring. Okay, so these are the thoughts that are cycling through the black woman's mind at times. Okay, many times the black mother may say things to the son that damages him while uncontrollably thinking about his father. Okay, so what I mean by that is, at times, the black woman could be cursing at the son, while she's thinking about his father. And this can happen with female children too. Okay, and this is all psychological. This is all mathematics and scientific, what I'm talking about. If the father is spending money on other women, if he flaunts this in his child's mother's face, some women will still provide for the children, Some women, not every woman's the same. And some are mentally broken down or financially stricken to where they will only buy and purchase things for themselves to look good for the next man, or she may subconsciously feel that purchasing hair, makeup, clothes is her only outlet, while the child's father is physically free. Okay? The man breaks the woman, and the woman breaks the child's soul, so that further generations can be lost and damaged. And that kind of reminds me of Willie Lynch, when they said you got to break the female first. You got to break the female and break the male in front of the female. Okay, so that she feels helpless, that she has no security. And how by breaking the female, they can negotiate through the female and at will through the female. So yes, the black man can be locked up and destroyed through the black woman. You're right. And that's why things must change, okay? And how if there's a destroyed black woman, how her womb is polluted, okay? With certain diseases and, like I said, mental illnesses and stuff. And how it produces unwell black children, okay? Also, if what I'm saying is false, why do you think They started this method back in slavery. Okay? Why? Why do you think that? Okay? Also, this method would destroy any race of people. Okay? It would destroy any woman, it would destroy any man, and any race of family if implemented long enough, and if it should become an epidemic, basically more than just a few cases here and there. Okay? Because we can all say that this family from this race or that woman from that race, but with it being such a high epidemic, and we're talking about generations and generations when we're talking about the black man and woman. Okay? Dear black man, what you must understand is that you have two categories of women in regards to this topic I'm talking about, okay? So, A, you have the unconscious black woman who has been taught by maybe an unconscious woman like her mother, her aunt, grandmother, who lives daily off of song lyrics that teach her to get pregnant and become, or excuse me, that teach her to become pregnant and bounce from man to man, okay? Because, this is in a lot of the songs and lyrics now, okay? This type of woman is unaware of the long-term health effects and damages it will not only have on her, but her children. Health risk such as uterine cancer, okay, especially from high rates of promiscuity, breast cancer, diabetes, strokes, hypertension, mental diseases, HIV, and the list could go on of the psychological effects that a lot of our unconscious sisters don't have. When they choose to bounce from man to man and think I'm just going to take my kids along with me and we're all just going to keep bouncing and bouncing. Okay? The children grow up with abandonment issues, resentment for both parents, increased risk of daycare abuse. Okay? Because there's you ever notice that back in the 70s and 80s it wasn't as many daycares, but now there's so many because there's so many more single mothers, and they're primarily filled up with African American children. Okay? And that whole cycle of how it just breeds more abuse. Okay? Because it's really difficult to leave your children with people that you don't know, even if they're certified or whatever. Even with clean criminal records, it still doesn't matter. Okay? Things still happen. And increased risk for incarceration for our young black men and some of our young black women. Teenage pregnancy. Okay? For both male and female child. Generational poverty. Okay? And future generations that normalize broken homes. Okay? And then you have B. Then you have the conscious woman who knows the risk of being a single mother and did everything to keep the man in the home. So she's done everything to do so. But I encourage the black man not to take advantage of this particular woman who values your presence inside the home. So this is sleeping with more women than what you should. This is putting it in the woman's face because she's a good woman. I got me a good one. Don't do that because it's damaging more women. And the worst woman to damage is a good woman that once was good, and then she has your children. Okay, that's the worst thing to do. Okay. Also, I lastly want to leave my dearly beloved brothers with a few thoughts. Okay, just a few thoughts to think about. Do not leave the black woman mentally or physically abused because it increases the risk of it happening to your sons or furthermore your children, okay? Do not get women pregnant you will not take responsibility for. So if you don't like her like that, don't do it, don't do it. Learn how to control your sex drive. So that you are less likely to get a woman pregnant that you don't respect or that you hate. And this goes for black women as well, of course. Because it is the black woman that carries the seed, and she does have a higher increased risk of her life being ruined versus the male. So yes, she needs to be extra careful, to make sure that man respects her. But I'm also encouraging black men not to just 100% put it on black women. Okay? That his sexuality is controlled by a black woman. Okay? If you don't like her, don't get her pregnant. And the only way you're going to figure out if you like her or not is if you spend time getting to know her. Okay? Marry the woman Marry the woman that your legit heirs will come through, so your legit children, and do not break the treaty. Okay, because I find that going on a lot. That it just seems okay, send a woman a child support check, and I'm good. This is a treaty. When you decide to get married, I think black women and men, we really don't really understand that. Do not damage the black woman, because damaged women produce damaged children for the most part. I mean, you have exceptions to every rule. But I'll repeat that again. Do not damage the black woman, because damaged women produce damaged children, okay? And all due respect, please stop vocalizing openly on social media and all these platforms and places and streets about the failed black kids, the failed black children, as if it only makes black women look bad. Because we have that a lot. Oh, this black, that black boy came from a single mother home. Because in reality, it makes black men as a whole look even worse, that they have left the load on many black women and then mock black women, as if leaving them alone in houses with their children alleviated all responsibility from them. Okay, so we got that a lot. We got a lot of black men saying, hey, I wasn't there, so you can't blame me. I wasn't in the household. Just you saying that is an oxymoron. Just you saying I wasn't there. That makes the black race of man look real bad, to keep saying, oh, I wasn't there. That's why the child's messed up. Well, because you wasn't there. Right. It makes you look even worse. Thinking that you're making only black women look bad, though. Think about what I'm saying. When something happens to the child, even while being absent, it is even more so your fault, because you were not there to protect or to care. Many black women may reject a man being in the home because of the centuries of never having a man, and fear of being left being left by a man. But please, if you want to produce strong boys to men, stop leaving your sons to be raised by women alone. Okay? If you know it, hardly ever works. So if you know this method hardly ever works, that women are raising these sons, then please stop doing it, black man. Okay? It's been a pleasure talking with you all. This pretty much concludes this segment. If you liked what you heard and you'd like to hear more, please subscribe. If you want to share with others, please hit the share button, or the like button. If you have any questions or suggestions, or if you want to show your financial contribution or love, you can do so at thetruthwithtrinity.com. You can listen to my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. And always remember, if you can't tell the truth with anyone else, you can with Trinity. Until next time, take care.